Welcome to the Tiffany Micah podcast. What we do here is build the strength and courage in you to accomplish your big dreams and goals in your sport. No longer will you feel limited. You won't feel you're not good enough. You won't question whether you will make it. Those doubts will disappear because you will have the competitive edge over your opponents and leave them in your wake. And the bonus is others will notice. Listen up and take notes because I will show you exactly how to do it. Hey there, this is Tiff from Tiffany Micah Podcast and welcome to today's episode. What we're going to be doing here throughout these episodes, I've called it Striving in Lockdown. It's a series that I'm going to put together for you over the next week or two with regards to what we can do to strive in lockdown rather than dive in lockdown, because what I want to make sure that you're doing is that we're looking at ways in which we can keep you moving forward. And I'm always saying, look, we've just got to keep going. So that's what we're going to be focused on over the next week or so with regards to striving in our lockdown, whatever type of restrictions that we're going through at the moment. Some are going through much heavier lockdowns than others. In Australia here, our lockdown is very different to what it's like in the UK, what it's like in Ireland, what it's like in Europe, what it's like in America. So we've been quite fortunate. However, it's easy for us to also be distracted right now. And the reason for that is because we're not competing in our sport. Some of us are no longer, we no longer have any work. Our school situation has changed. So, we've gone from the classroom to the kitchen table to the lounge room or bedroom to get your online schooling done. So wherever that may be for you. Many businesses have shut down. Some have gone out of business. People are losing their lives. Reports on the COVID-19 cases around the world and deaths. There's so much going on there. The economies around the world are crumbling and they're in a coma. And there's no guarantee when life is actually going to get back to normal again, or is it going to be what it was like before, or is there going to be changes that we have to make in the future? There's some talk in some countries of restrictions being removed in some form, not totally removed, but there's also that fear of a second wave of COVID-19 hitting us. So there's all these fears of whether we can recover from this financially. It's whether we can recover this from mentally. And there's so much in the world that we really don't know. There's so many things that are still very uncertain. And when the lockdown initially occurred, I'm sure we all went through the fear. I did. I was unsure of, how long is this going to last? And with all the work that, I've done over the years from a mental point of view, it's like, okay, well, it's just another challenge. We're going to work through this. But there was still this fear and that uncertainty of, okay, well, how long is this going to last for? Like, what's actually going on here? Because we really didn't know. We've got more of an idea now. Things are unfolding as we go. But we still didn't know. So, it happens to all of us. We all deal with it in different ways. And our world as we knew it was turning upside down. But time has gone on from that point. And some of us have been in restrictions for 8 weeks or possibly more. Here, where we are in Australia, it's been for 6 weeks. We're actually had some great results. We didn't think that we'd be here so quickly with such good results. But the thing is that we've all had to adapt to changes. And some people are okay with changes. And I find athletes, and that's you, actually cope better with changes because we have to learn to adapt all the time because we're thrown various situations all the time. So we can cope and deal with that better. But there's some people out there in the world that they just don't cope with change at all. They really struggle with that. And our lives as we know it, that has changed for the time being, and we don't know for how long. We really don't know. It's all trial and error. I talk about trial and error all the time with regards to everything that we're working on in developing you into the person and the athlete. You got to trial it, and this is what's going on now. It's trial and error. This hasn't happened before in this form. There's been the Spanish flu in the early 1900s, but again, this is a new form of a coronavirus, so we don't know how to deal with it. And I could say to you, okay, well, you know what? Let's just work through it. Let's just get through this. And I'm not going to say that to you because I'm going to say, look, you know what? It's mentally tough right now. It's emotionally tough right now. We're being thrown a challenge in everyday life that we haven't had to deal with before. It's been different if you've been through World War II and you've been through the Depression and so on. That's the older generation that have done that. But we haven't had to experience anything like that. We've been very fortunate, and all of a sudden we've had some sort of virus thrown at us, and it's sent the whole world into a spin. So we all cope with challenges differently because the way in which you cope with something will be different in the way that I cope with something. But we still have challenges thrown at us. And if you're still at school, the challenges that you'll be facing right now are going to be different to people that are out working. They're going to be different to what your parents are going through. So for you, you're not competing at the moment. For you, you're not socializing with your friends in the same way that you were before. For you, you're not doing the schooling at school, you're doing your schooling from home. And you may have to share the house with your brothers or sisters. You may have to share a computer. There may be massive changes going on in that with your schooling. And at times you're going to have to figure everything out alone. Your training and your practicing for your sport has changed. Highly likely you're not able to practice, but you may be able to in some form, but you can't do it with your team. For you, it's frustrating because you've got no control over this. And when you don't have control, what happens is that frustration sets in. When you don't have control, fear sets in. When you don't have control, anger sets in. We go through a whole array of emotions. Then there's your parents. They've got the fear of possibly losing their job or their business, or they may have already gone through that already. How are they going to support you and your siblings? Are they trying to find work? They're trying to make ends meet. They're trying to survive. They're going through a whole different thing than what you're going through. We all have our different levels of challenges that are being thrown at us. And we've got to figure out how we're going to survive. But what I would like you to do in what's going on right now is I want you to see this as an opportunity. And I want you to see this as an opportunity of growth for you. And you're thinking, okay, Tiff, how are we going to see this as an opportunity of growth for me? How am I going to see that? And how I want you to see that is being absolutely clear on what you want in your life, what you want in your sport, but I'm talking about life in general, not just your sport. You know what you want from your sport, but I also want you to be thinking about, well, what is it that you want from your life? Because life is short. And it may not feel it for you right now that life is short because you may be 16, you may be even 20, and you can't see that far in the future. But then all of a sudden you open your eyes and you're 49. And that's me. I remember when I was 16. I remember when I was 20. And I'm like, hey, you know, what's happened the last 33 years? Where did the time go? I can't believe how quickly it's gone. You may not be able to see that yet, but when you get to 49, you'll go, oh yeah, now I know what Tiff was talking about. But it spins me out, like, where is the time going? Because it's going so quickly. And I still remember my mum turning 40 and now she's 73. And I'm like, what's happened there? Because I still think of her as a 40-year-old woman. You know, she's my mum. You know, I still think of myself as being like this 16, 17-year-old kid. And she looks older than she looks older than she did when she was 40. And I still get a shock when I see her because I still think of her mentally as 40. Because my mum's like hip and happening, you know. She's a go-getter. And she's a beautiful mum. And I hope your mum's a beautiful mum too. But what spins me out all the time is what's happened to all that time. And this is why I don't want you to stuff around with your time. Because you're on the earth for a short period of time. We've seen that with the coronavirus, especially with the older generation. It's, you know, getting them more vulnerable. But it doesn't mean that something's not going to happen to you in the future. That's why I don't want you to waste your time here on this earth. Because time just keeps ticking over. Time just keeps going no matter what. Doesn't matter what happens in the world, time is just going to keep on moving. And this is why I want you to take some time out today. So when you listen to this episode, and I want you to mull over. And what I mean by mull over, I want you to seriously consider this, what I'm about to say, but I want you to seriously consider what your future really wants to be like. Because time will keep ticking. And then you'll be at this age of 49 and saying, what happened? Because for me right now, it only felt like a blink or maybe a 2 blinks of the eyes. And I was 16, full of hope and dreams. And you'll be in this position one day too, and you'll go, what has happened? You can't see it now. My nieces cannot see it. They're, 12 and 8. They can't see that. I couldn't see that when I was that age. But as you get older, you see all of that. You become more aware of that. So I don't want you to stuff around, and I don't want you to be wasting your time. I want you to see this as an opportunity. Because I want you to see this as an opportunity of hope and dreams, and you fulfilling your dreams. So here's 2 questions that I want you to work through today. The first one is, I want you to actually write out what you don't want in your life. And I want you to be really clear on the detail. And the reason that we're going from this angle, because I know I always talk about set your goals and let's, figure out what we want. What I actually want you to do here is I want you to do the opposite. I want you to establish what you don't want in your life. Because sometimes it's easier to work out what you do when you're clear on what you don't. Because some people that I've asked over the years is like, well, what do you want? And they're like, well, I don't know. But if, But if I said, well, what don't you want? They can give me a whole list of things. This might be a good place for you to work from right now, because you may be saying, I want to be world champion in kickboxing. I want to be world champion in marathon running. I want to win the Olympic gold for high jumping. I want to be part of the national team and we win the gold medal for soccer. Great. That's great. But there's more to life than just that too. That can be part of what you want to accomplish. That can be part of what you want in your life. But there's more than just that. And so what I want you to do in this first question is I want you to establish everything that you don't want. Because it'll help you get much more clear on the second question. So remember, number 1, write out what you don't want. Number 2, now I want you to write out what you do want. And I want you to be very detailed in the description of what you want from your life. Not only from your sport. I want you to do this for your life. What is it that you want from your life? Because once you've worked out what you don't want, it's much easier to work out what you do want. And the reason that I want you to do these 2 questions, especially right now, is I want you to give yourself hope. I want you to look at your life in your sport in a new light versus being swept up in COVID-19. Because I want you to keep moving forward, right? We're just going to keep going. We're just going to keep going and we're just going to keep going. So let's go, okay? So answer those 2 questions. Do this because I want you to give yourself hope. There will be light at the end of the tunnel at some point. Let's start working on that light now. Let's start managing you better through this so that you know where your focus needs to be. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Love it if you could share with me what you like best about what you heard today. If you've got friends that you know that would benefit from these episodes, please share these episodes with your friends, because we want to build the successful athlete community as big as we possibly can. And I want you to dream big, believe in you, go after your dreams. Take care. Talk soon. Before you go, do you have a free copy of my book, Focus: How to Reach Potential in Sport, Business and Life? To get your free copy, go to tiffanymica.com/free book. Look forward to seeing you there. Dream big, believe in you, go after your dreams.